order to accelerate economic development and to raise living standards, Jamaica is putting increasing emphasis on producing and manufacturing for export. Products from farm and factory that are, in many different ways, sun-made in Jamaica. 144 miles long and 51 miles wide, Jamaica, at the northern end of the Caribbean Sea, was discovered by Christopher Columbus in 1494. Until 1962, when the island achieved its independence, Jamaica was a British colony. Sun, rain, and soil have combined to provide a rich bounty of agricultural crops throughout its history. In the 19th century, fantastic fortunes were made growing sugar for export. Sugar still represents one of the major sources of foreign earnings, as well as molasses and rum, which are byproducts. From the slopes of the famous Blue Mountains, coffee was also amongst Jamaica's earliest exports. Years ago, the first shipment of Jamaican bananas was sold in New York at $1 each. Bananas remain a major export to well over 125,000 tons a year. Emphasis on quality has resulted in new methods of packaging and shipping to ensure the arrival of fruit in perfect condition. Jamaica's farm exports have grown in number to include oranges, grapefruit, a unique hybrid from the orange and tangerine called the Ortonique, cocoa, tobacco, fresh vegetables, spices like ginger, and pimento, of which Jamaica is the world's largest exporter. Bananas, once known as green gold, were carried on the same ships responsible for promoting another Jamaican export, the invisible export, tourism. Over 400,000 20th century sun worshippers visit Jamaica each year. By the middle of the present century, Jamaica had entered a new phase of economic change and growth. The advent of the tourist industry and discovery of bauxite contributed to a breakthrough in Jamaica's industrialization. Jamaica's mines are open to the skies and the sun's friendly warmth. As well as exporting 7.5 million tons of raw bauxite ore, two of the country's 5 international companies also process nearly 2 million tons of alumina for North American, European, and African smelters. Gypsum and limestone for the manufacture of cement are also quarried in sunlit mines for export, and to supply the needs of the country's fast-expanding building industry. Modern-day Jamaica has moved quickly to develop its most valuable natural resource, its people. This has meant harnessing their energy, resourcefulness, and ability to learn technical skills. Only in this way can the country hope to compete in world markets against large metropolitan nations. The aspirations of the Jamaican people can be satisfied by quickening the pace of the country's economic expansion. This means a massive injection of capital and substantial expenditure in the means of production, in machinery, factories, and transportation. The expansion of Jamaica's export industry is critical if these expenses are to be met from foreign earnings. What was originally produced to meet the demands of the domestic market must also now be suitable for export. These products must meet the high standards of quality set in the international marketplace and have a distinct Jamaican characteristic in craftsmanship, content, and design. Jamaica's export drive has received two important boosts. The first, when she joined the Caribbean Free Trade Agreement, known as CARIFTA. This is an economic grouping of former British colonies in the Caribbean area, whose object is to create a common market for the 4.5 million people of the region. The second was the establishment by the government of the Jamaica National Export Corporation. Its role is defined as exporting consultant to Jamaican industry. The corporation's task is to facilitate and encourage the island export trade. This it is accomplishing by undertaking market research, providing information and advice on exporting techniques, sponsoring trade fairs and trade missions, and generating an awareness of the export industry amongst other activities. It is above all a central source of assistance to overseas importers interested in Jamaican products, and works closely with a number of bodies authorized to deal in the export of agricultural commodities. By collaborating with manufacturers, agricultural producers, shippers, and Jamaica's diplomatic missions abroad, the corporation is exploring and expanding every practical opportunity for increasing the country's export potential. What strides can be achieved will in the end depend on the ability and capacity of the country to mobilize its resources, its people, its raw materials, and the gifts nature has bestowed upon it. Exotic and exciting is the only way to describe the sensations the sun adds to the aromas, the sights, and the sounds of Jamaica. Young Jamaicans are capturing these sensations in such glamorous export products as fashion wear, perfume, fabrics, and even popular music. For these very special export products, Jamaican designers are drawing from their past and their present to distill an essence, a unique quality that suggests a contemporary way of saying, sun-made in Jamaica.